Just a random Sunday evening, late afternoon thought in regards to diet when training, anything, running, lifting, taekwondo, anything like that. This pertains to low carbing, keto, all that sort of stuff I heavily practiced for many years off and on, and it's all coming together for me as far as the effects of that on your body. Yeah, so I've said this in previous videos, but I personally, low carb does what it's supposed to do. It does reduce your body weight, but it's definitely not for me. And I don't think it's for anyone that participates in any sort of athletic venture, activity, or hobby. And I'll tell you why. I mean, from my understanding, you get a couple of different classifications of food. Obviously, you got your protein, you got your carbs, you got your fat. Now, when you're low carbing, basically, carbs are energy. And energy, to me, is power. And if you take that away, your body has to get it from somewhere else. And, a lot of times I think part of that is going to be the protein. And what is the protein there for? It's there to repair and build the muscle that you're, constantly in a state of destroying when you're participating in any sort of physical activity, such as weightlifting or running or doing something like taekwondo or boxing, whatever you're going to be doing. And so by low carbing, you're not freeing up that protein to do what it really has to do. So I think by keeping your carbs where they need to be, like protein's doing what it's supposed to do. And I don't know, I remember, again, you're gonna have to fact check everything I say, because everything I say on my channel is basically considered my opinion, and I'm not an expert in all that matters. And I'm on my own little growth journey, and I've been doing a lot of things over the years, and I just experiment, and when I find something that works, I kind of call it out, hopefully to help some other people. But anyway, so from my understanding, I believe I heard that if protein is being burned for energy, it's creating like ammonia. So anyone that's done low carb, maybe you've smelt that ammonia smell. It's pretty distinct. I know I have, like on a long run after low carbing, and that's like toxic to your body, so it's not good. I think the body is definitely meant to burn carbs for energy, and yeah, I don't know. So for me, last week I low carbed. I did a little experiment because I felt like I was getting a little puffy around the waist, and I dropped from a 38 to a 30 recently over the course of a few months, and I feel generally great. And I've been doing a lot of exercising, lifting, and I feel like as you do that, your stress hormones kind of go up, and kind of makes you go a little puffy, I feel. Yeah, I was like, oh, I definitely need to do a cut. So I did an experiment. I low carb did a bit last week, and I was eating mostly vegetables and meat, and it didn't go well. I started getting pretty emaciated pretty quick, and when that started happening, I'm like, crap, I need to lift more, and it just wasn't working. I was getting like skinnier looking, and I was getting like really stressed out, and I'm like, oh, my stress hormones must be high because I'm lifting more, getting very anxious, and started thinking about it, and I'm like, and I didn't really even make the connection, but it was the low carb. So Friday, I brought back all the carbs, and when I say carbs, I mean like as much whole grains as possible, like popcorn. And when I say popcorn, I don't mean like high-fat snack popcorn. I mean like you're just plain old popcorn. Maybe add salt and pepper to it. Like maybe the stuff you actually pop yourself. So popcorn and rice of all sorts. Not a fan of plain rice with nothing, because I feel like that's not great for your thyroid and metabolism. So always add spices, whether it be iodized salt or whatever, I don't know. So rice of all sorts, like grain cereals, like the old ancient grain stuff they sell in the grocery stores. Anything like whole grain, multigrain, bagels and bread and all that, everything bagels, all that is fair game. Pasta, macaroni, like all of that is I don't know, it's good stuff. So I think if you're training, again, weightlifting, running, taekwondo, anything I do, archery, I've pretty much determined the best thing for me is 60% carbs. 60%. 20% meat and 20% vegetable. The size of your fist, I've heard. Again, this is my opinion. This is what I've read over my number of years I've lived. Size of your fist is the portion of meat in a sitting that your body can handle. If you eat more meat than you can handle, you've reached your quota and your body's just going to turn into fat. So I say 1 fist of meat with your meal, 1 fist of vegetable, and say 2 fists of carbs. Or that leaves 1 fist of carbs, and then you can go have a snack in like an hour or something, you know. I mean, I personally do like rice, and maybe I'll do like a bread with my meals. And it's funny because people will kind of like be like, what are you doing? Low carb is the great blah 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 blah. But it's not for me. Definitely not for me. All I know is when I low carbed, and for some reason, like cutting phase, you get your bulking phase and cutting phase as far as like weight, you know, bodybuilding and all that goes. And I always like associate, oh, cutting, you must have to low carb it to lose your weight. No, you don't. You maintain your composition through again, my opinion, but through reading and experimentation and all that. If you're bulking, you maintain your ratio of 60% carbs, 20% meat, 20% vegetable. You just eat more. Maybe you do 3-4 meals a day like that, or whatever you're gonna do. And if you're cutting, you don't low carb, because for me, I feel like I've yo-yoed over the years and I didn't realize it until now. But you just take away your meals. So maybe you do like, you just keep the same ratio, but just reduce your calories. However you do it, do the math, you know? I mean, for me, maybe I'll eat like a bunch of mini meals throughout the day and then one big meal. That's technically how I went from a size 38 to a 30 waist. I did discover the carbs, and I kind of forgot again because I don't know what I was thinking. But the allure and people talking, and they get very influential. And no, it's the wrong answer, because when you're low carbing, you have no energy, and you need energy to maintain your muscle mass. And if you're not eating your carbs, then your body's going to take away from the muscle mass to fuel your body. And you're just going back and forth. You go through a bulk phase, and like people are like, oh, I can do whatever I want bulking, so they naturally eat carbs, not thinking about it, but they are, because they think they're cheating, but they're not. And they're eating the carbs, building the muscle, and then they're like, oh, I gotta cut. So then they start to cut and lose some body fat, so they low carb, and their weight starts going down, and they think they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then they start looking emaciated, because you're losing your muscle. You took all that time to build that muscle up, and now you're just losing it because you're starving your body. I thought of like a little comparison. Hunter-gatherer societies, tribal, all that, tribal people, obviously very fit, but you have to admit, tribal warriors and tribal hunters and all that, they do look a little emaciated. Whether, they're healthy and capable and crazy what they do, but they do have the emaciated look. Now, think of like how civilization started. Like the Greeks and the Egyptians and all these societies in the Middle East and around there. What did they do? They were the first farmers. They cultivated crops and grains. And then what else happened? We started getting mythology, like gods, and you had like champions, like these giant men, gladiators. You don't see that. You don't see that in hunter-gatherer societies. You do not see it. Because, and this is my opinion, but they were eating their carbs and their whole grains. That's my opinion. So, again, I'm not saying low carb doesn't work. It does what it's supposed to do. Definitely not for me. And in my opinion, when I did cross country and track and stuff in high school, not all the way through, but started running again in my late 20s, and I had a pretty decent 5K speed. Local 5K, came in second place in one, and there wasn't a lot of runners, so don't take that as gloating at all, because really, it was one of the first of the year, and probably 24 runners, so whatever. But regardless, I did well, and then I started low carbing. A couple months later, I ran another 5K, and I bombed. I lost like 6 or 7 minutes off my time, and I was tired, and my muscles were, come to find out, emaciated. So yeah, you need the carbs. 60% carbs, 20% vegetable, 20% meat. And honestly, like, even just a week away from the low carb, actually for me it's Sunday, so I started carbs back up on Friday, so it's been 3 days. I have more energy, enough energy to post this video, or whatever, and like, I'm just feeling healthier. My waist is going down again, because the thing is, like, when you don't have energy, your body goes into starvation mode and it wants to hold on to the fat. So you're eating carbs and your body's releasing the fat. As you gain weight, which you might gain weight eating carbs, I personally think, all the weight's going into your muscles. If you're a guy, it's going into like your upper chest, you know, wherever you worked out last. For a girl, I don't know. Feel free to tell me where it goes. And yeah, like, I can tell you this much, I don't think the carbs are going to the waist for me. No. And I've been controlling my meat intake, so that's not going to the waist. So I've eaten quite a bit of carbs, and I feel it going into my upper body. And my waist, these shorts are loose. So yeah, I think that's what happens. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened on my way down from 38 to 30, because I maintained kind of an XL shirt size, and that wasn't a problem for me. And you know, I've said this in previous videos, but for me, as a guy, I kind of gauge, I don't even really step on the scale. I measure my fat by my waist. If I'm a 36 or a 38, I'm like, oh, I gotta lose some fat. I'm about 30, that's good. I don't really want to go much lower than that. And then my shirt size kind of tells me my muscle mass. It's like, am I wearing a large or a medium or an XL? I prefer XL. All my shirts are XL, and I don't really want to go lower, don't really want to go higher. And when I was running a lot in my late 20s, a few years ago, I referenced that just a while ago, I was low carbing all summer long, ended up in a small shirt size, so you can kind of see that ate away all my muscle mass. And again, maybe some people prefer that, but it's not for me. So yeah, so hopefully this video helps some people decide the best diet for anything. Running, taekwondo, bodybuilding, any sport, because I think this composition, 60% carb, 20% muscle, protein, 20% fat, not fat, no, avoid that as much as possible. Eat your healthy fats, 20% vegetable, keep your nutrition up. I think that's gonna fuel you for just about anything you do, and help you succeed and be a champion like the Greek gods and gladiators, Roman gladiators. Yeah. But if that's not your thing and you want to be a little smaller, in my opinion, slower, low carb it away. But I know what I'm doing, and hopefully that kind of helps some other people, because I'm feeling great lately, and kind of figuring out this ratio, more than that I'm pleased with my current results. I'm like especially looking forward to my future results, because I kind of feel like I have the key. I want to get a little bigger in my upper body, not too big. I don't want to be like walking around like the Hulk. That's not my thing. But I want to fill out a little, just my own personal satisfaction, and obviously just want to be healthy, because when you feel good about yourself, I just think it's good. And I think it's just like good mojo for yourself. But anyway, so again, if you didn't watch the whole video, because now I'm like realizing this is like 20 minutes long and I talk way too much, just to summarize, 60% carbs, and by carbs I don't mean sugary, gross stuff. I mean your whole grains, rice, popcorn, regular corn, quinoa, multigrain breads, all that good stuff. 60%, 20% protein, meats, fish, nuts, that sort of stuff, and twigs are vegetable. Onions, garlic, broccoli, kale, all that good stuff. So